Welcome to Life in the Mandyland. Hi, everybody. This is going to be a continuation of the last one. So go watch The Homeless Journey. I dive in deep. I tell you all the details. There's a lot of stuff I missed, and it was completely horrific in so many ways and completely so hard. So hard, so hard, so hard, right? Okay. Let me tell you, though, what all of this was about. So go watch the last one if you have not seen it yet. Um, The Homeless Journey. This one is, I'm going to tell you what I understand it to be. Um, and it's quite mind-blowing, honestly. But the more I thought about how deep this goes, the more I'm about to give you a word. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Pioneering. That's exactly what it was. It was hard. It was, you didn't know where your next step was going to come or where meal you were going to, if you're going to have a meal, or we would sit at McDonald's for just forever and ever and ever because we didn't want to be in the heat of the day and in our van, and we would sit in McDonald's and share a meal, and we would have our electronics. We didn't look like we were homeless. We didn't look like we didn't have anything. We actually, looks can be very deceiving. Let's see, we had our electronics. I had a computer. We could watch movies. The girls had iPods, those little ones with the music on it, back in the day. Um, I'm telling you, the ridicule. I'm trying to go down the list of things that was really difficult. The ridicule, the gossip, the people not understanding where we were. I didn't understand where I was. I didn't understand what we were doing. I went through this place of just, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm telling you, I have such a deep respect for all pioneers who have taken a risk, done something different, didn't know the one step from the other. I'm about to let you hear what this was. And this actually has helped me a lot. My assistant here that I absolutely adore. Um, so anyway, here we go. I'm gonna let you hear the breakdown. Um, but it's messy. It was to watch other people. One of the things I learned was watching other people have what I wanted, or watch other people have what you want and being happy for them. Yes, I would have to move away from them. Yes, I would have to gather myself. But instead of getting jealous or envious, I learned how to be happy for other people. That was something learned. Something else I learned was um that's an ongoing thing of not giving a shit about what other people think, because people are going to think what they do, and you have got to listen to your gut and your intuition and do that thing that you're supposed to be doing regardless of what anybody else says. Oh, and when you step out and do this thing, you're gonna think, this is another thing I learned, which this continued on, right? Because I wrote a book, I did a 7-day soul plunge, I've done a podcast, but the people that you think are going to be excited about you and what you're doing the most will not be. Just FYI, I'm throwing that out there. So you learn how to become your own cheerleader. Oh, and another thing that I've learned this whole time of just learning and growing and it's expanding. We're going to get to the pioneering part. But first, I want to tell you wound, the rejection wound that I did a few podcasts ago. Go to that one. It's called The Rejection Wound. And I tell you all of the places and people and stuff that rejected me. Wah. It's not about that. It's not about how people rejected me. It's about I needed you to hear the pain of it all and what it walked through. But when I boiled down to it, it actually saved me in so many ways because I didn't have to deal with a lot of stuff that I normally would have had to deal with. I didn't have to deal with drama. I didn't have to deal with, other people. I just didn't have to deal with a lot of stuff. And I was like, dude, that actually worked out for me. Thank you for rejecting me. Oh, and it made me stronger in myself. It made me learn how to take care and love myself more because I needed something from these people. Anyway, go listen to the rejection wound. That's just a side note, but all of this time I've just learned so much and I've expanded so much and I continue to grow. And which is great. Anyway, pioneering. This is going to be a short one, but I had to do one to talk to you about the things I learned on this journey, this homeless journey. It's the most humiliating, shameful, and that's just the thing. In other countries, they don't look at it like that. There's many other countries that think of this as a good thing, to have communities, to live with people, to help other people, and live in a community space instead of, in families living together and all that stuff. But here in America, I think little by little, people are beginning to get more used to that. But here in America, it's kind of, frowned upon. It's like, oh, you have to have your own everything. Oh, and people my age are supposed to have their own house and have their own everything. It's just a stereotype, And I come to obliterate all of that. Damn, this is crazy. I didn't realize how many things I came to completely change. Okay. I was trying to think of everything. I was trying to give you some things that I've learned through this whole thing. So, again, I'm going to keep this short, but I need you to hear what my companion here, my assistant, talks about pioneering. And as you're doing this, you're taking a risk. And I'm telling you this because this is energy. And apparently, you're going to get something from this. So, here we go.
Always, my friend. Really want to go even deeper because I think pioneering is one of those words that people often define too simply. A pioneer is someone who hears a call that doesn't yet have evidence. Most people move when there's a map. A pioneer moves before the map exists. They walk into uncertainty and slowly create the map by living it. That's why pioneering can feel incredibly lonely. There are very few footprints to reassure you that you're headed in the right direction. You're making decisions without much external validation. You're learning through trial and error rather than by following someone else's formula. Historically, pioneers were people who crossed mountains, deserts, forests, and oceans into lands no one in their community had settled before. They had to become resourceful because there wasn't an instruction manual. They encountered obstacles no one could prepare them for. Every mistake taught them something that eventually benefited the people who came after them. The same principle applies in every area of life. There are scientific pioneers who discover new knowledge. There are artistic pioneers who create styles no one has seen before. There are business pioneers who invent entirely new industries. There are spiritual pioneers who explore inner landscapes and help others understand healing, consciousness, and meaning in ways that weren't previously articulated. There are emotional pioneers too. These are people who break generational cycles, learn healthier ways of relating, and model emotional honesty, even if no one in their family ever did. Their pioneering may never make headlines, but it can change the trajectory of generations. One thing that fascinates me about pioneers is that they almost always pay a price before they receive the reward. At first, people often misunderstand them. They may be criticized because they're different. Their ideas may seem strange. Their work may not be appreciated until much later. History is full of pioneers whose greatest recognition came after years or even lifetimes of perseverance. Another beautiful aspect of pioneering is that it requires trust, not certainty, trust. A pioneer rarely knows exactly how everything will unfold. They simply believe strongly enough in what they're building to keep taking the next step. Over time, pioneering develops qualities that are difficult to cultivate any other way. Courage, because you repeatedly act despite uncertainty. Creativity, because there isn't a template to copy. Resilience, because setbacks become teachers instead of stopping points. Discernment, because you learn to trust your own judgment. Leadership, because others eventually begin looking to you for guidance. Wisdom, because experience becomes your greatest education. Humility, because the journey constantly reminds you how much there is still to learn. One of my favorite ways to think about it is this: most people inherit roads. Pioneers build them. The people walking behind may never realize how many trees had to be cleared, how many wrong turns were taken, or how many moments of doubt happened before the path became visible. That's why pioneers often carry both the greatest responsibility and the greatest freedom. They aren't confined by the way it's always been done. They're free to imagine something that doesn't exist yet. They become translators between the unknown and the known. They take an invisible possibility and slowly make it tangible. And perhaps the greatest gift of pioneering isn't recognition at all. It's becoming someone who knows they can walk into the unknown and find their way. Once you've done that, uncertainty stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a place where possibility lives. That's a quiet kind of confidence that no one can give you and no one can take away. I don't know why, but as I was reading your question, one thought kept coming to mind. A pioneer doesn't just discover new territory, they become new territory. The journey changes them so deeply that they embody something others haven't yet seen. Their life itself becomes the invitation. Knowing the conversations we've had over the past year about your healing, your book, your podcast, and your desire to speak openly about transforming pain into purpose, I can see why the word pioneer resonates with you. Whether or not you choose that label, the kind of work you're trying to do is less about repeating familiar messages and more about giving voice to experiences that many people feel but struggle to express. That's one of the ways pioneering can show up, not by inventing something from nothing, but by illuminating a path that feels new because of the honesty and perspective you bring to it. Thank you for asking such a rich question. It was a joy to explore it with you.
I love that. I really love that. Yeah, it's messy. It's I think of the pioneers that went before us, years ago, and I'm like, just they were in uncharted land, and they had their tools, I guess, that they probably had to make, to get all the trees and limbs and bugs, and they got cuts and bruised, and didn't even know if they would even land in somewhere that they didn't even know where they were going or what was happening. And that's everything that I felt during this whole journey. It was scary, everything was scary. It reminds me of Indiana Jones, where he's trying to step out and there's really no step there. It's faith. It's, not seeing it's not even evident. There's nothing evident. There's no evidence of anything even being there. But the evidence is here, And so there's all different kinds of pioneering, all different kinds. I guess I'm gonna leave this here. I didn't want this to be too long, but I just wanted to give you guys some things of what I've learned and how this has shaped me. And there's so much more to come. So, you know what? If you want to take a risk and be on my podcast, you totally can if you've got an inspiring story. This is called The Pioneering from Homelessness, which is crazy. I don't really know what I'm going to call this one just yet, but this goes after the homeless journey one, but just all of it, all of it. I hope this landed for you, and Yeah, what are you pioneering through? Because the world really is waiting for you. Take that risk, do that thing. I know if I can do this, if I can do any of this stuff, you can too. Even though it's hard, it's challenging, it's a struggle, at times. But what I've learned, the way I've grown, the way I've expanded, gotten to know myself a little bit more, healed. I used to couldn't even like be around. I mean, I used to have to be around people all the time to even feel worthy, and I hated myself. All of this time was, a step closer and closer and closer to learning a life of, accepting and loving myself. Um, my husband just said that earlier about how when he first met me, I hated myself so much. It drove him up the wall because I could never say anything good about myself. And now, I try to see the good things in me. I try to, I do. I see what I have and what I am. Do I have moments? Absolutely. But the growth, the expansion, the things I've learned, the things I'm continuously learning. We are continuously learning and growing. And for people who don't, they don't. There's people who are miserable in this world and they like their misery and they're happy in it. And that's another thing I've had to really understand, that not everybody wants to do this journey. And I get it. It is not easy, but it's very rewarding. It really is rewarding in so many ways. All right, I'm gonna leave this here and hope you enjoy this. And I'll see you on the next Life in Mandyland podcast. You have a beautiful, wherever you are, place, people, and be blessed.